Tuesday Talks Talk 2, exploring Harry Potter book, chapter themes. Today's topic, The Vanishing Glass, Book 1, Chapter 2, themes. Today's Tuesday Talk agenda. What are Harry Potter books and where can they be found? Who are the book's target audience? And why am I choosing to explore and talk about Harry Potter book themes? Themes found within Chapter 2 of Book 1 and a chosen theme. Today's theme-focused essay question, answering the essay question, the Christian message, takeaways and thanks. What are Harry Potter books and where can they be found? Harry Potter books are a series of children's books and fantasy novels written by the British author J.K. Rowling. They have been translated into more than 80 languages and as such are one of the most translated books in history. The books in the series can most commonly be found in public libraries, bookstores, both physical and online ones, and shops with catered book sections. Who are the book's target audience, and why am I choosing to explore and talk about Harry Potter book themes? The target audience of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter books are listed as children and teenagers aged between 9 to 12 and up. However, that does not mean the audience for the books are limited to this age group. The series' exploding popularity has highlighted its multi-generational appeal with its themes and messages on love and loss, the sacrifices made for it, the power of good friends in helping to overcome life's obstacles, and the importance of family and community in acting to aid and support the vulnerable and maltreated in society. Messages which have resonated deeply with its readers worldwide. After a childhood spent within the pages of these books, I'm looking forward to exploring and talking about how its themes and messages can help us in our daily lives. Themes found within Chapter 2 of Book 1 and a chosen theme to explore and talk about. Themes: neglect and depression, isolation, childhood innocence versus adult cruelty and early instances of innate magic. Today's chosen theme: isolation and alienation. Today's theme-focused essay question. Analyze how Rowling uses the setting of the cupboard under the stairs and the incident at the zoo to highlight the themes of abuse and hidden power in Chapter 2 of Book 1, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Isolation and alienation. Isolation is a state of being physically and socially separated from others, whilst alienation is an emotion or existential feeling of estrangement and disconnection from society, one's community, or oneself. In this essay, I will explore how the cupboard under the stairs, the zoo incident, and recurring abuse and hidden powers emphasize the isolation and alienation of Harry Potter in Chapter 2 of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. The cupboard under the stairs. The setting of the cupboard under the stairs with its spiders that Harry is used to highlights how ingrained the abuse Harry faces is and how he has become accustomed to it. Harry slowly got out of bed and started looking for socks. After pulling a spider off one of them, put them on. Harry was used to spiders because the cupboard under the stairs was full of them, and that was where he slept. Firstly, the fact Harry was accustomed to the many spiders in his so-called room highlights the years of abuse he has been living with the Dursleys. That now something which would normally have other children his age screaming or running away no longer phases him. Secondly, that this cupboard full of spiders has remained over the years still his place of resting highlights the lack of regard his guardians have for him, not attempting in any way to remove him from such a major health hazard. Some could argue that perhaps there is no other space for Harry to live and reside in. However, this poor excuse fails to recognize that if truly there was no other place for him to reside in that house, why then, at the very least, have his guardians not cleaned the cupboard to the point where he is used to the spiders? Thus we can see through his living conditions under the stairs and by his used to it attitude to the spiders that the abuse and neglect of the young boy living on the stairs has been prevalent for many years. Moreover, we can see through his placement under the stairs and the lack of pictures of him around the Dursleys' home that he has been physically and socially isolated from their acceptance of him, living as a family member in their home. The zoo incident. The zoo incident highlights that there are hidden powers at work and highlights the alienation of Harry from the Dursleys. Harry moved in front of the tank and looked intently at the snake. He wouldn't have been surprised if it had died of boredom itself. No company except stupid people drumming their fingers on the glass, trying to disturb it all day long. Harry's empathy with the snake behind caged glass walls in a zoo highlights his own internal pain and suffering. He can understand the snake's lack of response to people attempting to disturb his rest, similar to how his aunt Petunia hammered on his staircase door to wake him up that very morning. Some may counter-argue that Harry's ability to break the glass and do some unexplainable things makes it understandable as to why the Dursleys attempt often to alienate him from their daily life's blessings. However, the incident of the zoo and Harry's various other unexplainable incidents where hidden powers appear to come to light does not excuse the obvious favoritism shown to Dudley and his friends as compared to Harry. Therefore, Harry's deep connection with the zoo snake serves to draw the audience's attention to his own internal feelings of estrangement within his current company, whilst also showing the reader how his hidden powers often appear to be a form of defense mechanism to Dudley and his gang's abuse. The cupboard again as a source of punishment. The cupboard under the stairs serves after the zoo incident as a form of punishment, highlighting a disconnect between his guardians and Harry. Go, cupboard, stay, no meals. The anger in which Vernon expresses these words and the direct use of the cupboard in the sentence as a form of punishment highlights that towards Harry there's a disconnection of affection. Instead of taking Harry aside to hear from his point of view exactly what happened at the zoo, after hearing from Dudley's friends Piers that Harry had talked to the snake, he immediately alienates him to the cupboard and cancels access to food. One could proclaim that this is a reasonable response to Harry somehow locking up his own biological son, Dudley, in a glass cage. However, most readers would agree the lack of food and lack of care for Harry is evidently parental abuse and neglect, and even veiled hatred of Harry. Without even taking time to hear from him, he locks Harry away and deprives him access to nourishment. Therefore, the setting of the cupboard and the actions of his guardian figures highlights clearly the abuse, neglect, isolation and alienation the young Potter has been facing over the years. In this essay, I explored how the setting of the cupboard and the incident at the zoo highlights the abuse, neglect, alienation and isolation of Harry Potter as he resides with the Dursleys. The Christian message. The Christian message. The isolation and alienation of biblical characters can be witnessed within Scripture. In both the Old and the New Testament books, people are often alienated and isolated. An example can be seen when Jesus was alienated by the crowd and soldiers in Matthew, specifically seen in Matthew 27:30-31. They spit on him and took the staff and struck him on the head again and again. After they had mocked him, they took off the robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him away to crucify him. This scene depicts an instance where Roman soldiers made a mockery of Jesus after the people of the time called for Barabbas to be released from prison and requested Jesus to be crucified instead. The crowd attacked and the soldiers followed suit in attacking Jesus. The scripture highlights how one party's contempt can influence another party's disdain of an individual, much like how the Dursleys' adults' contempt of Harry enabled Dudley to treat his cousin with utter contempt. Thank you for tuning in today's Tuesday talk, praying that you have a truly tranquil rest of your Tuesday. PS Tuesday Talks, Talk 3 will explore the letters from No One, Book 1, Chapter 3 themes. Wishing you all the very best until then.
Dancing in the dark, broken pieces, open hearts, finding out just who we are. Painting over every scar, turning tragic into art. Feels like magic, just like magic.